All right, we are joined by the Utah State student athletes, and so we will go quickly to questions. Raise your hand right here.
Jason Walker with Cache Philly Daily. Darius, I'll start off with asking about you. You tied the single-season assist record at Utah State last night. What does that accomplishment mean for you, being able to do that?
Darius.
Well, it's great. It's great to accomplish something like that, and obviously, assists is probably the biggest thing that you cannot do without your teammates. They're the ones that make the shots for me. I just do my best to get them the ball in the right position, and it's even more wonderful to win while doing it. So it's a wonderful accomplishment. So,
Questions, please. Raise your hand. Right here.
Yeah, Justin Abershow, Sports Capital Journalism. Isaac, this question's for you. How do you stop Zach Edey?
Isaac.
Sometimes you can't. But I think what we can do is stop the rest of the team from doing some of the things that they do. I guess you can stop them down low. Not much you can do when it's up high. So we'll do our best.
Questions, please. Right here. Mike.
Mike Merritt from Associated Press. Isaac, you mentioned last night that you were thinking back to the high school game that you had against Matt. I'm curious what you remember from that game, and if there's anything that you learned during that game that you can use
Isaac?
tomorrow.
Yeah. Pretty much all my energy just went into defense. It was not my best offensive game of the year, but because all of my energy went into defense. So if that's what it takes again for us to have other people step up, we've had a team of guys that can step up. So we'll just do our best on that end.
Go ahead.
Pick up off something Isaac said, but this is for all of you. Isaac, you mentioned, stopping everybody else, besides Edey. I guess, what are the keys to doing that, stopping everybody else, even if you can't stop Zach?
Great. We'll start with you.
I mean, obviously, speaks for itself. Purdue is a really good team, and we have our hands full, but I feel like we just need to be aggressive in everything that we do tomorrow, whether that's trying to deny the post or when we do deny the post, don't let it get back out. So we'll try to do our best in making sure that we can limit what we can control, control what we can control, and everything will take care of itself.
Darius?
yeah, I mean, Purdue's a really good team, and they were #1 in the country for majority of the year for a reason. So I think it's just the plan is just be aggressive. You have to be aggressive with everything, and that's. You have to do all the little things. The 50-50 balls, we have to get all of those, and we have to do our best to keep them off the boards. And they usually out-rebound everybody they play. So we have to try to attack the boards, and that's the best way to go about it.
Right here.
Jack Johnson, the Utah Statesman. Zach Edey drew a lot of fouls in yesterday's game. He went to the line 17 times. And then the entire team only had 6 fouls the entire game. What are you guys going to do to keep him from going to the line and then also try to draw fouls on him as well?
Isaac?
I think just wall up as best as you can. I think he's #1 in the country for fouls drawn. And so obviously that's a big part of their game plan, and it's a big part of why he's been so successful. So we just have to be as physical as we can, chest up, and do what we can without fouling. Don't swipe down, even though the temptation is there because it's so high up, and just be smart.
Great.
Obviously, it's about being the aggressor. Coach Sprink always talks about the aggressor always wins. So if, we take it to them and physically try and set the tone without being the reactor, I think you give yourself a chance. And in games like this is about giving yourself a chance to be successful,
Pat?
For Pat Forty from Sports Illustrated for Darius and for Great. When you found out Coach Sprinkle was changing jobs, what was the process like for you guys to decide you wanted to go with him to Utah State?
Darius?
Yeah, there was a lot of anger at first. It was more of just like, it was more of it was a process. I'll say that it was a process. Especially individually for me, as far as it's my last season. So I wanted to be in the best spot comfortable for me as far as playing-wise, opportunity, and a place to win. And, felt that we had a really good, strong team coming back at Montana State. So it was obviously hard to see that, but going through the transfer portal and going through all the options, the best thing was for me to stay with not just Sprinkle but the whole staff. The whole staff came with him, so it ended up coming down to an easy decision, but there was a process.
Great.
Obviously, as David said, when we found out where it was, we was mad. Me and David was like, "No, we're not leaving Montana State. We're staying." But then, after the initial anger calmed down, it was really about assessing our best options. And I spoke to my parents, spoke to all the people around me, and it took a lot for me to leave Montana State because it's a great program, great place. But obviously, like, I had to find the right fit, and after evaluating everything, seeing the love that Logan has for the Utah State Aggies, seeing how the herd, the spectrum, hearing about it and doing my own homework, like, I was like, I need to play there. Like, it's not many people get to put that Utah State jersey on, and it's been a blessing for me to be here, and I appreciate the love they've shown me so far.
Yeah, Isaac, Ben Baby with ESPN. You referenced it last night. You redshirted last year for just kind of, it sounded like for mental health reasons and kind of really kind of get things back together. Can you just talk a little bit more about that process, what that was like, and kind of what you learned, and just talk to us a little bit about that whole experience and what you gained from it?
Isaac?
Sure. I haven't been shy to share kind of what's been going on when people have asked. And so I think coming home off of my mission, I was a missionary for 2 years in Ohio for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And coming back into the world of basketball, let alone college basketball, was a completely different change, especially at the University of Oregon. And I think the transfer for me, I wanted to come back to Utah. It's just a community with a lot of people that I relate more to. And I think through COVID and through a very difficult freshman year for me, I just was down in the dumps a little bit. And so I was struggling with some depression, and I wanted to love basketball again, but I didn't. And so I took a step back from it to learn how to love the game again without the pressure around it. And I think it was probably one of the best things that I ever did. I was able to talk to counselors and get help with mental health, and along with Coach Odom and his staff, figure out how to love basketball again. And then with Coach Sprinkle and this staff and this team, we've been able to see success through it, and I'm very grateful that I did.
Questions, please, right here.
Sean Harrison with the Herald Journal. With the game being so late last night, have you guys had much time to kind of maybe enjoy? And then you have to hurry and get ready for Purdue, but have you had much time to enjoy doing something that no team at Utah State's done in such a long time?
Darius?
I mean, like last night, I didn't get to sleep much. Just the adrenaline. The game ended at 1 a.m., so got back to the hotel, showered, everything. Still couldn't, like, go to sleep. I didn't really sleep until, like, 4 a.m., but I think there was enough time to enjoy it, you know, for the moment, for the time being in the morning, and then obviously you had to turn the page, you know, a little bit earlier, going through, you know, all the film on Purdue, but I think we had enough time to enjoy it, and it was just, it's really fun because, you know, obviously nobody, not one person on this team has, you know, advanced in the tournament, let alone only a couple people had played in it. So it was great to celebrate it all together.
Questions, please. Right here.
This is for you, Darius. Braden Smith is basically your counterpart for Purdue. He got 10 assists in yesterday's game. What is yours and Danny's strategy for stopping him from being a facilitator on the offensive side, and then for you on defense for you on offense to also be a facilitator on your end?
Darius?
Yeah, it's funny because looking at it, we do a lot of things similar, and the coaches said, you know, we're actually very similar in, like, play styles and things like that. So that is kind of interesting, but. I guess be aggressive. You know, he's a really good player, so I guess switch up my styles, whether it's be aggressive, a little fall back, go over, go under, blue, green, like a lot of different coverages, and just kind of go with the flow of the game. You know, if he's hitting shots, I have to be a little bit more aggressive. If he's not, then, you know, maybe go under, have to play, you know, read his eyes and watch, you know, how he's deciding to pass. And it'll really be, the coaches give me a lot of freedom to kind of decide how I want to play people. So I guess within the flow of the game, it'll reveal itself on what I decide to do to make him uncomfortable.
Questions, please. Right here.
Yeah, Darius, we talked a lot about you guys defending Purdue, but what are some, chinks in Purdue's armor that you see that you could potentially exploit?
Do I talk about that right now? We shall be aggressive. We'll just go with that. Don't wanna have them looking at this. So we'll just say we'll just be aggressive and do what we've done all year, and that's nobody has to be anything special. Just be the team that we've been, and everybody do their job, and we'll be fine.
Anything else? Thanks, guys. We think Coach Sprinkle will be here in just a couple minutes. A reminder that Hammond Communications will post a recording of the press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. And transcripts, as you probably already know by now, are provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly after the conclusion of the press conferences. welcome back.
Good. Seems like I was just here about 3 hours ago.
All right, we're joined by Coach Danny Sprinkle, and Danny, we'll just have you make an opening comment, and then we'll go questions.
Okay. Obviously, tremendous win last night, but it's over. We survived and advanced, and so now it's on to Purdue. We know how good Purdue is. Obviously, they have, a National Player of the Year, and they don't just have Zach Edey. That's the problem. They have so many guys, so many talented players that shoot it, drive it. They're probably, one of the best coach teams in the country. Everybody around here knows that. Everybody around the country knows Coach Painter's teams. When the more film you watch, the more impressed you get with their spacing. Like, everything they do is with intent, and they do it to perfection. And so we got our hands full tomorrow. We know we're going to have to play well and shoot the ball well, but our guys have been up for the challenge, pretty much this entire season, and I expect the same tomorrow.
Right here.
Coach Sam Farnsworth, KSL Sports. You mentioned several things that you've noticed on film already. Is there one thing that really stands out about this Purdue squad that you'd say, okay, this is why they're such a great basketball team?
Yeah, the big fella in the middle. Him, but like their pace, like they play with tremendous pace and spacing. They're a tremendous offensive team. Nobody's really stopped them, this year. And they've seen everything. They've seen every type of defense. So we're gonna have to, we're gonna have to hope they miss some shots, and like last night, we have to come up with those rebounds when they do. They're too talented of a team and too well shooting to give them second chance points.
Right here.
Tyler King with the Denver Gazette. Just want to ask a little bit about the Mountain West as a whole. Obviously, it's a 6-bid league this year, which is rare for the league, but now for the first time ever, 3 teams have won in the tournament. Just curious what it means for you to be a part of that as you guys are still alive, and how much the playing in the conference this year prepared you for games that you've played last night and the games that you're going to play tomorrow night in the tournament.
Yeah, it means a lot. I thought the Mountain West Conference was terrific this year. The coaches, the players, we all knew how good it was, because when you have to go through that gauntlet, similar to the Big Ten and Big 12, I felt like we were on par with all those conferences this year. And it showed in the non-conference with some of the wins that our teams had. But, we all take a tremendous amount of pride. Now, we're actually rooting for San Diego State. We're rooting, for everybody that's still in the tournament. So it was a fun league to play in. The coaches are, great, and we're all kind of on a text thread rooting for each other.
Jack Johnson, the Utah Statesman. You said yesterday that you guys play a similar offense, both teams. How are you going to use that knowledge for your defense?
Yeah, hopefully a little bit helps, because our post guys, we've been kind of guarded, probably maybe not to the extent of Edey, but Great's been double and triple team and swarmed all year. A lot of the offensive sets, we steal a lot of sets from Coach Painter, and his staff, and we did at Montana State too. But it's going to be, hopefully just like our style of play and the way we try to feed the post top down too, just like they do 90% of the time. And, hopefully some of that, helps in the scouting preparation.
Danny, Pat 40 from Sports Illustrated. I'm just wondering, this is not a new question for you, I understand, but the process of starting from scratch. You brought 2 guys with you from Montana State, but what were the most important things in making it work with this new lineup, new roster?
I think recruiting high-character guys that bought into what we were trying to teach. If you have 2 or 3 guys in the locker room that aren't completely all in, it doesn't work. And we've been very fortunate, and we got lucky. Some of the guys that we took, we didn't know them. And we're recruiting. It's like speed dating. Now in the portal, you're recruiting a kid for a week or 2, and now you're coaching them. And we were very fortunate that these kids are, they're about the right stuff. They've been raised right by great people and mentors, and it's contributed to our success. Because we had transfers that played really well at other schools, and they've their roles either, diminished a little, or they're not getting as many shots as they did at the last school. But for them to continue to cheer for their teammates and be selfless, that's why we've had the season we've had.
Jason Walker with Cache Valley Daily. We talk a lot about defending Edey, but I want to ask about when you guys are on offense going against this Purdue defense. What are the keys? And obviously Edey, 7'4", makes for a good shot blocker as well.
He does. You know, we got to try and pull him out a little bit, you know, whether it's ball screen or getting our bigs out there shooting. Because, like you said, if he's 10 feet from the rim, that's a big old dude you got to shoot over. And, you know, so hopefully we can get him pulled out a little bit, but we also got to go at him too. You know, I thought even Grambling, you know, they were aggressive. You know, you're not going to make all of them, but even if you can get him to contest it and you get over the top of him, you might be able to offensive rebound on that backside if you do miss. And so, you know, we got to continue. We got to be us. You know, it's too late in the season to try and put in a new offense or do something other than be us. And, you know, we're at our best, as you know, when we're getting stops and turnovers and getting that thing going in transition.
Over here.
Danny, Sam King, Lafayette Journal and Courier. Is there an advantage to having Johnny Hill on your staff in this matchup, somebody who maybe has some sort of insider knowledge on Coach Painter and what they're trying to do?
Well, no, we tease Johnny all the time. Coach Painter's probably glad he's on our staff because we always tease Johnny about he can't shoot, so he doesn't even fit Purdue style nowadays. And he actually can't shoot. We just tease him and tell him that. But I don't think so. You know, they're still a little different than probably when they played with him, and he's been away from so long. But you know, yeah, I mean, I don't think it doesn't help us. It doesn't help us guard Zach Edey, you know, having Johnny on the bench.
We're here.
Sean Harrison from the Herald Journal. You always give your players until midnight to celebrate a win. Last night you couldn't really do that.
Yep.
How much celebration were you allowed to have? And you know, just the rent is due. Can you kind of express where that came from? That saying that you use with them?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I wanted the guys to enjoy it. That's a heck of an accomplishment that they got last night. And so, you know, the fans were there in the lobby when they got back, which was great. But, you know, when we woke up for breakfast, you know, I mean, players were talking about Purdue, like, what do we have to do? You know, and we have such a short turnaround. I mean, it's probably 24 hours from right now. And, you know, so, like, that's been the one thing for kind of as young as our team is, they get to the next play, they get to the next game, and with the success especially that we had early, I was worried about that because they were getting a lot of love in town and on social media, but they've humbled themselves and they've just get to the next day and they've taken on that rent is due every day. I think it was J.J. Watt had the quote, you know, success is leased and rent is due every day, and the second you think that you've made it, you're going to get knocked off. And in this tournament, if you don't continue to get better and stay sharp, your season's over. And, you know, so that's obviously been our motto all year. And our guys know we have to do what we have to do preparation-wise today to give us a chance to be successful tomorrow.
Questions for Coach?
I also wanted to ask Coach about Khalifa in Ramadan. I mean, I know last night he was able to eat before the game. Tomorrow is going to be a whole different situation. How have you been managing, or how has he been managing that?
Yeah, you know, we've tried to provide the resources for Khalifa. You know, getting him, you know, whether it's shakes or just even food, you know, to-go stuff that he can kind of keep in his room in the refrigerator. And that way, you know, he can set his alarm clock and wake up and make sure he's getting something in his stomach because he, you know, I don't even know what the word is. He's a heavy sweater. Like in warm-ups, he'll be just drenched, you know, and obviously you can't drink water or anything. So we had to, it's actually good with the NCAA tournament where you can only warm up for 27 minutes or whatever it is, to where it's, you're not getting the full hour. But even in I think it was in Vegas the one time, we told him not even to go out until, you know, like 30 minutes on the clock, because even that extra 30 minutes can zap some of your energy.
Okay.
Yeah, Danny, Ben Baby with ESPN. You know, we were talking to Isaac earlier, and he kind of explained the whole redshirt process. What kind of information did you glean about how that went for him, and what has it been like coaching him this year, and what kind of maturity has he shown since coming back from all of that?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even ask him about his redshirt year. You know, I just kind of told him, like, hey, from today forward, that's all we got. You know, hopefully you grew in the weight room and you know, develop mentally and physically, you know, during that year off. But I don't care what happened. You know, all I knew was we took him over on, you know, June and started practice, and we were moving forward with him. And he was uncomfortable with a lot of the physicality and things that we were doing in practice and conditioning. And, you know, I wouldn't, and it's not a slight, but like we coach a lot of defense in the summer. You know, like there's a lot of times we're not picking up a basketball, like it's physical, like it's football. Like I wanted to find out how tough our team was. And I knew to compete in the Mountain West, we had a long way to go. And he it was hard at first, but he just kept getting a little better, and then he finally bought in, and his game just keeps going to another level. But really proud of just how far he's come mentally, because he's as good of a basketball player he is, he's 150 times better person. Like he's great to be around every day. He cares. He's got a great heart. He's always worried about his teammates, his coaches, and he's a lot of fun to be around.
Anything else for Coach? All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
You got it. Thanks, guys.